Hey, it's Lisa here from Soul to Soul Yoga. Thought I'd show a quick and easy way to make a midweek meal. Well, it could be anytime meal, based on what you've got. So nowadays, yes, I'm busy, but I love food prep and I always like to cook nourishing food for myself and my family. So what did I have? Not much time today, so I had some leftover cooked rice in the fridge. I thought, all right, I'll make a meal around that to use it up. I had some tofu, so I've got a block of tofu which I've cubed, an onion, this is some minced garlic, minced ginger which I'd already prepared and frozen in little ice cubes, so you can get fresh ginger, whiz it up in the blender and then freeze it. There's a chili, a red chili. Again, these were frozen and I've just chopped it up. Some frozen spinach. You could use some frozen veg, even easier. I had some carrots and broccoli, which are Cassie's favourites. So I quickly roasted them because then it's really quick to put together at the end. The trick to cooking is having things in your store cupboard that are really tasty and quick to put together. I love like Chinese, Vietnamese, Vietnam, cooking, any kind of like that sort of Asian cooking. So I always have dark soy sauce, sesame oil, soy sauce, Shaoxing dry rice wine. You could use sherry, but this is easy to come by now in supermarkets or Asian supermarkets. So you can use other sauces like hoisin or oyster sauce if you eat it, or a vegan version of that. I also have some tahini here. You could use peanut butter. Tahini is not traditional in Chinese cooking because it's kind of like more Middle Eastern. However, it adds a really creamy depth and yeah, I love it. I have it on everything. But you can use peanut butter as well. Peanuts are really nice. Just adds a different depth of flavour. So if you've got all these bits and pieces in, it's really quick and easy. I'm going to show you what I'll do. So popping your wok or whatever pan you have on the stove and then using some oil. I'm using olive oil because that's the only oil really I have in, apart from sesame oil, which you want to use as a seasoning rather than a cooking oil. But you can use any oil, and we're not going to use much. So I'm just going to heat that up. And then what we add to the pan is, we're going to add the garlic and the ginger and the chili to start with. We all have a favourite spoon, do we? I like a wooden spoon. Just going to stir that around. It's a little bit crackly. Okay, then I'm going to add the onions and give that a little stir fry. And then we'll give that just a few minutes. We don't want them too soft. The onions just enough to kind of cook a little bit. You know, some recipes call for the onions to be cooked a long time. Things like Indian cookery generally really benefits from the sweetness, but really with a stir fry it should be fairly quick and easy. Now, as many as you know, my recipes tend to be quick and dirty. I don't particularly have amounts, but I kind of play it by ear depending on the amounts. And you can always add more, especially with Chinese cooking. Like with some cooking, you want to cook off the spices, like Indian cooking. With Chinese, not so much. So you can always add more soy sauce and whatever afterwards. So I'm gonna take some dark soy sauce, maybe about a tablespoon. I'm going to put in some some vinegar, again about a tablespoonful. Depends on how much you're making, and as I said, you can add after Shaoxing rice wine or sherry, or you could skip this. About a tablespoonful again. This just adds a little depth of flavour. Normal light soy sauce, probably a bit more. So probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons. And again, it's like a seasoning, so you can add more afterwards. I'm going to add a little bit of Chinese 5 spice. Again, another flavour. Maybe a teaspoon or 2. Maybe a teaspoon and a half. And then just give it a stir in. Now I'm going to add in my spinach. This is frozen spinach. Of course, you can use fresh. I I love keeping frozen spinach in because it's just little blocks. You can chuck it in a curry, you can chuck it in a Chinese, you can chuck it in anything, well, within reason. And then just give that a little stir around. Now I'm going to pop in some tahini. Where's my spoon? Actually, I want some sugar too. Sugar, just about a tablespoon of sugar. Again, that sweet, salty, umami taste you want from particularly Chinese and Asian recipes. I'm going to add about a good tablespoon. I'm going to add 2 big ones of creamy tahini. Again, non-traditional. You could use peanut butter that you've mixed together with some water, or you can put all these flavourings, by the way, in a jar or a blender and blend them all together, including peanut butter. It just makes it a little bit creamier. I don't know if you can see. It's basically just a spinach mixture at the moment. Okay, so now I'm going to add, actually, you know what, before the veg, I'm going to add the tofu. I've just literally cubed it because it's already more or less cooked. You can coat it in some oil and flour. You could fry it first. You could pop it in the oven first to make it crispier, but this is just a quick and easy, and we all love tofu in our family anyway. Now I'm going to add in carrots, broccoli, whatever veg you have and you like, you can add in. Okay, and give that another little stir. And then I'm going to add in the rice. Now, literally, that is it. If you use, though, as I said, you could use whatever veg. You could use peas, edamame beans. Might add some peas because everything benefits from peas. I'm going to add a little bit more soy sauce. You know, for more traditional veg, you can get things like pak choi, some of the like bean sprouts maybe pop through. But literally, how quick and easy was that? So now we've got a really, really tasty Chinese stir fry for tea with rice that we can all just have a bowl from later on. But it's taken us no time at all. So if you get your ingredients in, then you've got a quick meal, whatever time of day. My top tip is prep your veg all in advance. In fact, there's some science behind it. If you prep broccoli in advance, apparently it's better for you. It releases some kind of like bio compound that actually is better for you. So I like to get up, prep my veg, chop it all up ready, and then when I've got a moment, put it all together. Not too far in advance, but you know, kind of like maybe just a little bit in advance. Prep it all, put it onto a plate, and make it really super easy to get a nutritious meal. Hope that was helpful. Namaste.